You alright guys, it's Nick with Couch Potato Fights. Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick vlog before I head to the gig that I'm going to. I'm in Sheffield at the moment in an IBIS. Yeah, which is alright. It's like a budget hotel. I didn't want to risk missing the last train back. I'm meeting some mates from Hull. I'm seeing a band called Shattered Realm, who I've literally been following since I was in my early 20s. I'm 43 in a couple of months. So yeah, it should be a really good gig. Shattered Realm, you've got Desolated. My old band played a gig with them like 15 years ago. So it must be, no, not 15. It must be like 8 or 9 years ago. You've got Bayway from New Jersey, and you've got Killing Me Softly, who are from Leeds, who have that really strong early 2000s sort of metalcore sound. So I'm really looking forward to that, but I thought I'd do a vlog because I've now watched the press conference. Sorry, 2 seconds, I'll just adjust that. I've had a couple of glasses of Chardonnay as well. So if it seems a bit off kilter, what can I say? My weekend started already. So yeah, I've watched the press conference last night with Wardley versus Huni. I've just watched the weigh-ins. This will probably go online just before the event tomorrow, so quite late, but I just wanted to do something just to say I've seen the weigh-ins, the press conference, whatever. What did I extract from that? What did I find interesting? So the press conference first, it was a standard press conference. They asked the usual bullshit they always do. It was fine. It was reasonably interesting, but the respect has been there's been a lot of respect between Wardley and Huni before this fight. Obviously, the previous opponent was Jarrell Big Baby Miller, and there was no respect at all whatsoever. I want to know what this diss track is that he's talking about that Fabio Wardley did about him. There was no respect at all whatsoever. It was kicking off, security were holding him back, all that stuff. Anyway, but then Miller dropped out, so his opponent is Huni. They've been quite respectful. I mean, most people have been going on about the amateur background of Justis Huni and the schoolboy stuff that he's achieved. It's just gone up. He's been boxing for, I think, since the age of 8, so very experienced, skilled boxer. So you would say, usually, he would be the favourite in this fight against most people that he fights, right? Because he's got so much experience. He's been boxing since he was 8. He's 26, 27 now. In my prediction, I said I think Fabio Wardley will win by knockout. Later, it won't be like a flash knockout. I think maybe it might get a technical knockout. It'll just get stopped. I think maybe a towel will even come flying into the ring in like the 8th or 9th round. For some reason, I've got those numbers in my mind, 8, 9. I think Wardley will still, his energy systems, he'll still have a lot in the tank. I think Huni it will be close, but I think Huni, he'll be trying to utilise his game plan, but I feel like the raw aggression of Wardley, just his style will negate any game plan that Huni has. And again, like, we all have a game plan, so we get punched in the face. Metaphorically for most of us, because we're not professional fighters. A lot of us have trained boxing or sparred, like myself, but I've never had a professional fight. So the metaphor applies really to a professional fighter. In sparring, it's more controlled. Training, it's more controlled. But it's a good quote to use, and it's a good cliche. Huni can have the best game plan ever, but if he's got someone just on the front foot always in his face when he's trying to implement his game plan, he's going to short circuit his mind and his game plan, his presence of mind, with Fabio Wardley constantly been on him. And he's really going to be wary of that knockout power feel. There are some boxers, and I know I always talk about Anthony Rumble Johnson. I remember Pat Barry as well. He was a kickboxer, but also in the UFC. Some fighters just have that. Pat Barry was more leg kicks. He had devastating power in his leg kicks. He fought, I think it's Dan Evenson, maybe in Pat Barry's debut in the UFC, I think. He just has that scary knockout power, with him more his legs, but his hands as well. Some people just have it. Fabio Wardley has it, I feel. He can touch someone and they can go down, and Justis Huni will get hit. He won't avoid getting hit, and that's why I'm going with Fabio Wardley, because I feel he will use his delivery system and land that bomb on Huni's chin. And although Huni was stunned by Kevin Lorena and he recovered, I feel like Wardley arguably is more powerful than Kevin Lorena. Most people watching this would be saying, Nick, he obviously is more powerful than Kevin Lorena. Yeah, you know, I'm just trying to like be as impartial as possible, but I'm really veering towards Fabio Wardley for this one. So I've gone into like a prediction and preview again from the press conference. That sort of highlights to me that there wasn't loads to talk about in the press conference. So anyway, you know my prediction. The press conference, there was nothing really of note. The fighters did what they needed to. It was a good introduction to some of the undercard fighters. I think it's Hiza, HYSA, the Albanian heavyweight. It seems like he's developing a good relationship. It's like that with Frank Warren and those guys. If he wins this fight, it sounds like he's going to be lined up for a bigger fight. Lewis Williams is his pro debut. There's another good storyline there. Will he be able to cut it in the pros? He did well in the Olympics. I've just heard Carl Frampton say he feels he'll be able to go a long way. Carl Frampton, I feel, is a good analyst. He knows what he's talking about, so we'll go with that. So Lewis Williams, that's one of the storylines. He's come good in the Olympics. Can he make it as a pro? It's his pro debut. He's fighting a guy who doesn't have a good record, with all due respect. But again, when they're making the pro debuts, they're not going to throw him into the Shark Tank, are they? Against a really good game opponent. 2 secs. Chardonnay. This is my bottle of Wilemi. It's vibrant, fruity, and tropical flavours, and it's good with fish. I ate it with some spinach and pine nuts pasta, which I had to use my hands to eat because there's no cutlery in this hotel room, which is cool. But I looked a bit like a squirrel eating my pasta. So Lewis Richardson, also the Dillon fight. Do you know what I actually like? When you hear the stories of people for the press conference and get to know the fighters more, watch more footage of them, it's worth doing because it puts a spotlight on the other fighters and it says, we're all here for the main event, but there are other fighters on this card. Please pay attention to them. Please give them the respect that they deserve because they're coming up, they're on the way. I think it's Nelson Hysa, Hysa. I think that's how you pronounce it, the Albanian heavyweight. He's 40 years old. I get the feeling they're fast-tracking him. Clocked Adeola Depot saying they're going to fast-track him because of his age, but he could be an exciting heavyweight for a couple of years. He's probably only got a few fights left at the age of 40. He's probably in a similar boat as Gilles Big Bang Zhang, who, if you follow in Big Bang's Instagram, he's training pretty hard and he's very much in the heavyweight picture, it seems. He's not retiring, he's not going away yet. But anyway, we'll leave that for another day. You've also got Perez versus Stephen Ward on the card. So Perez versus Ward, I'm going with Perez. He's been knocking people out very quickly. So again, you can go on about his level of opponent, but he's been finishing people very quickly. But the weigh-ins on the scale, Stephen Ward looked big for a cruiserweight. He looked like a big guy. I know that size isn't everything, but it can help. It can help. He could bully him. He could be a weight bully. Stephen Ward looks massive, although I'll go with Perez for that one. I'll also go with Lewis Williams to win his pro debut. I'm sure most people will. Not many people will say otherwise. But the main event, Wardley versus Huni, how did they look on the scales? They looked good. They're not shredded. They're like, these are guys that are sort of in the 240s, 250s. And again, for me, a heavyweight, optimal heavyweight is 6'3", 6'4", 240 pounds. Personally, 235, 240 pounds, 6'3", 6'4". I feel like being able to shift your weight around being functional, the biomechanics of it, of a heavyweight, I feel like that's a good range to be in. Obviously, there are anomalies like Usyk. He's more like a cruiserweight, 6'3", 222 pounds usually in his fights. And then you've got guys that are massive that I actually feel like these days that's more of a hindrance. Guys that are like 265, 270, 280, 290. Then you've got Martin Bakole weight. So disrespect to Martin Bakole. So on the skills, Wardley and Huni looked good. They looked how they would usually. They're both at the career heaviest. You can't take too much from press conferences and weigh-ins, but they both looked good. They both looked game. They both looked ready to fight, which is what we want to see. I think it'll be a really good fight. I'd be very surprised if it was boring. I think both fighters at points will step on the gas, and I think it will be a bit of a yo-yo effect. It'll be a bit back and forth, but I think towards the end of the fight, Wardley will take over. And like I said, he'll prevent Huni from implementing his game plan. So yeah, the press conference and the weigh-ins are done. I usually do a video of like each one, but I guess there's no point now really. I can just condense it into a video. And again, I wanted to do a video. There's other things to talk about. Lomachenko's retired. I'll do a video on that. But I just want to go back and watch some of the highlights of his career again. Joshua Fury, things cropping up again. Spencer Brown's making comments that are making people think about contracts being signed. Could it still happen? I know I shouldn't get sucked in, but I can't help it. Yeah, that's it. I'm standing by my prediction. Most people are going in with Wardley. I think... is it Teddy Atlas? I think Teddy Atlas has put a $2,000 bet on Huni winning. Teddy Atlas knows his stuff, but I'm going to have to still go with my instincts, and that is Wardley. He'll stop him, a towel will get thrown in the 8th or 9th. I know it's on the fence a bit, but I'll go with the 8th or 9th round. I think Wardley will move on. Huni will also make a good account of himself, and he'll stay in that pool of fighters that can get good fights, good money. I don't think if he loses, I think he'll put up a performance where even if he loses, he'll still be he'll gain a lot of respect. One of those fights where people say, oh, no one actually lost the fight. Anyway, I'm going to have another glass of Chardonnay. I hope you enjoy your Friday night. I hope you got some cool stuff planned for your weekend. I'm going to have more videos. I really enjoy doing this. Like I say, not many people are watching my videos at the moment, but I just enjoy doing it. Anyone that does or comments on it or asks me a question on my thoughts on something, I really appreciate. I really like talking about sports. I really like talking about boxing and combat sports. It's nice when people ask my opinion on something. As someone that's not a professional athlete, obviously I have a fitness background and stuff. I'm still fairly active when I can be, although I'm 43 soon, guys. My body's starting to look like a dropped lasagna that's been smashed all over the floor, but I'm doing what I can. So thanks to anyone that's watching, commenting, subscribing, and people around me that are supportive and asking how it's going and stuff. I really appreciate it. There'll be more videos to come. There'll be more content. There's still a mental health video that I want to do, but I'll put more thought into that. I think it's a subject that you need a bit more thought when you're approaching it, and I didn't want to do it while I'm sat drinking in a hotel room, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas or some shit, or Charles Bukowski or something, just sat drinking Chardonnay. But it's all good. I'm sat drinking Chardonnay because I'm looking forward to a cool evening of beatdown hardcore. It's going to be a total nostalgia trip. Hope you have a good evening. Hope you enjoy your weekend. And then keep watching CPF boxing because I appreciate it. And man, we love it. We love this sport. We love talking about boxing and fighting. It's great. Keep it up. Let's go. Have a good evening. Thank you.